The National Register of Sexual Offenders has not been released. Earlier this year, the Minister for Justice and Constitutional Development, Mmamoloko Kubayi, announced plans for the register to be published by the end of February. The department says this is due to privacy provisions, among other reasons. For more on this, we are now joined by Terrence Manase, a spokesperson for the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development. Terrence, a very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us this morning. So why was this decision taken that instead of going ahead with releasing or making in public the sexual offenders register, that it will no longer happen?
Good morning to you, Aldrin, and to your viewers, and thank you for having us. Initially, we have expressed the intention to have the register made public before the end of February, actually. However, we realized that there is a confidentiality and disclosure provision in the Sexual Offences and Related Matters Act that prevents us from publishing it as we had envisaged it. That's precisely why there is what you term a delay. However, as the department, we are determined to have the register made public, but within the law. So there are necessary steps that needs to be followed to ensure that that clause is addressed so that the register can be made public.
Yeah. Do we know what the new deadline is?
There is no specific timeline at the moment because the process has just started. As you can understand, reviewing a legislation takes some time, but we are committed to fast-tracking this process. Legislative processes involve parliament, consultative processes, public hearings, and there's a lot. So we can't put a timeline to it at the moment. Suffice to say, we will try and fast-track the process.
So it could take more than a year?
It could take more than a year, but we want to make sure that it happens as soon as possible.
All right. Does this then mean that the minister jumped the gun here because the legislation is in place, but yet that promise was made that by the end of February, this register will be made public?
No, I wouldn't call it jumping the gun, Aldrin. We had received a number of calls from interest groups to make this register public. These calls had been going on for some time, and it was out of that call that the minister expressed this interest or this need for the register to be made public. Then we realized that there is this clause afterwards that prevents us from doing that. And we need to, as government, we need to do things in the right way. We need to follow the law. So we can't be breaking the law ourselves as government. So that is why we had to request the department to look into reviewing this clause, as I indicated.
Yeah. The independent papers are reporting on a two-phased approach that the minister has directed the department to adopt. Can you explain that to us?
Yes, the minister has directed the department to release this register in a two-phased approach. At least this aspect is within the law. We believe that is within the law to make the register accessible to various institutions or various groups. For instance, your Department of Basic Education deals with teachers who work with children. They need to have easy access to this document to ensure that sexual offenders or repeat offenders don't find their way in their human capital space. When they hire teachers, they need to know that the person that they are hiring is not somebody who will harm children in that space. Your institutions that regulates teachers, says, for instance, the South African Council for Educators, they need to have access to this register for vetting purposes as well. That's the first phase that the minister has directed the department to work to look into, or to make sure that it happens. The second phase will be to make it broadly accessible to employers, in the human resource space, especially employers that deal with children and vulnerable people. The minister has directed that in that second phase, these institutions, these employers should be able to have responsible access of this register to make sure that when they do hiring as well, they do not hire people who will put the people that they will be working with at risk.
Yeah. Are you able to share with us, Terrence, how many people are on the sexual offenders register?
Currently, let me start by explaining that the register is an active tool. It's updated on a regular basis. As and when perpetrators are convicted, there's a process that makes sure that they make their way into the list. Currently, we are sitting at 32,500 plus offenders on that list.
32,500 plus offenders. Do you know what the gender split is?
At the moment, the tool does not give us that detail as yet. As and when we improve, maybe in our next interview, I should be able to explain how many male or how many female, or even maybe if they are foreigners, or at the moment we don't have that kind of. It does not help us to break it down like that.
All right, okay. And hopefully we are able to get those details. I believe that those details are important as well, even if you look into issues relating to the demographics and then the age as well. But thank you so much for making time for us. Terrence is the spokesperson for the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development on the decision to no longer make public the register for sexual offenders. Instead, the minister is going to have a targeted approach, a two-phased approach, as Terrence has just indicated now, and then perhaps maybe later on we'll have that register being made publicly available to the public.